Welcome to the Try F podcast, where we try not to F the podcast up like I just did.
Sorry, I did it earlier.
Today, we're going to be talking about pyramids. This is like my wife said a little bit of something about this to me, that there was like spiral thingies under the pyramids.
Yeah.
I saw a couple of pictures on Facebook of kind of what it was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
If they're giant obelisks, I think that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so again, returning to my theme about how empiricism is crap, this is another example of it, because everybody who believes aliens is going, see aliens. Everybody who believes in the flood is going, see flood. Yeah. So it's just more data points, and everybody's just using those same data points to reaffirm their own conclusions, which means we believe things for completely different reasons besides data. Mm-hmm. But anyhow, so let me switch over to the...
I would say the data points to Egyptians.
Yeah.
Does it?
The data points to Egyptians. You know, those puns, you just slide them in so fast, and I just miss them. It takes me like a half a second longer to get them. It's very frustrating.
That's what she said.
I don't... Okay.
So are we watching a video on this, the spiral thing?
So this is the opening video.
Because I haven't seen anything.
All right. Well, let's get into it.
I am struggling to express in words just how significant of a discovery this is.
Scary music.
All right.
Dun dun dun.
What has just been announced in relation to the pyramids at the Giza Plateau and the plateau itself is so incredible, so awe-inspiring and narrative-shattering.
What?
This guy's English. I already don't believe him. I'm just kidding.
Are you racist against Englishmen?
Yes, I hate.
He's had one too many tea and crumpets, Trevor. So.
Biscuits.
Tea and biscuits. You want some tea and biscuits?
All right. Sorry I interrupted.
It's all right.
That I have been sitting here for the last hour trying to wrap my head around the implications of what we were just told. So this is pretty much breaking news because the new findings were announced on the 16th of March at a press conference held by the team who was studying the Great Pyramid of Giza with a non-invasive technology that was first developed by Filippo Bionde and Corrado Malanga, called synthetic aperture radar Doppler tomography. So this was used to explore the internal structure of the Great Pyramid of Giza. And this method leverages the analysis of micro movements typically generated by background seismic activity to achieve a high-resolution, full 3D tomographic imagery of the pyramid's interior and subsurface components. The recent findings from deploying this technology are nothing short of mind-blowing, because what's been discovered is that there are huge structures coming down from the base of the pyramid deep into the bedrock, in fact over 600 meters deep, which then connects to structures that extend up to 2 kilometers below the surface of the ground. 2 kilometers. Massive internal structures connected to the base of the pyramid and extending deep, deep down. This is what we know so far. Utilizing high-resolution radar images from Capella Space and Umbra, which are 2 private companies that specialize in satellite-based synthetic aperture radar imaging. This has allowed researchers to create a 3D model of the internal structure of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now, this model has revealed a previously unknown chamber with 5 horizontal levels and a sloping roof, which in of itself is an architectural design unlike any previously documented in the Giza Pyramid. But the most shocking discovery lies beneath the surface, below ground level. Radar tomography has identified vertical cylindrical structures extending for hundreds of meters beneath the pyramid. There are 8 of these cylindrical wells arranged in 2 parallel rows, descending to an astonishing depth of 648 meters. Even more intriguing, at the base of these structures are two massive cubic formations measuring approximately 80 meters in diameter. The tomographic data suggests that these are vertical wells with intricate spiral pathways. Now, this design not only implies a functional purpose, but also a level of sophisticated engineering that completely blows the dynastic Egyptian model out of the water. I mean, the pyramid itself was already a massive red flag in the ancient Egyptian historical narrative. But now, with this discovery, I think it's become impossible to say that the Egyptian civilizations that we understand, that we've been taught about, were responsible for building these structures. And it doesn't even end there. The radar analysis extends beneath the entire Giza plateau, revealing interconnected structures beneath not only the Great Pyramid of Giza, but also those of Khufu and Menkaure. The subsurface network reaches down to a staggering depth of approximately 2 kilometers. 2 kilometers. This is not possible, given the standard historical and archaeological narrative given to us about ancient Egypt. Now, I'm hearing that there is more to come. There is a 4-hour presentation that's going to be released by the research team. This is what I'm hearing. That's going to go into every detail of their findings. This has essentially been a strategic release of incredible data ahead of time to get people interested. And I am more interested in this than basically anything else right now, because this is by far the most provocative piece of evidence for not only a potential technological explanation for the purpose of the Giza complex, but it also provides the most extraordinary evidence for a pre-flood era civilization that was flourishing in a way that we can scarcely comprehend. It's also possible that this spiraling cylindrical series of structures are staircases, and I can't help but think of the channeled writings of Thoth the Atlantean, the Emerald Tablets, speaking of a lost hall of records, a sacred hall of knowledge below the Giza Plateau, the halls of Amenti. Could this be the lost hall of records from the pre-flood era? Now, obviously, this discovery is extremely controversial. It runs as a complete contradiction of the established narratives and status quo in mainstream academia on these issues. This will cause big waves throughout the academic and the wider world if they can fully evidence these findings. But the results so far seem pretty clear. There is obviously significant structural engineering taking place deep below the pyramids and the Giza Plateau in general. Has this changed your mind on the pyramids? Has this strengthened your position on what they might have been? Has this new discovery given you any new ideas about what the implications are? Let me know in the comment section below, and honestly, everyone, share this far and wide. This is such interesting stuff. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll just have to see where this goes, because rest assured, I'll be keeping a very close eye on any coming announcements and updates on this issue. This plays directly into one of my main interests, which is, of course, prehistorical civilizational implications. What was going on before the global cataclysm?
Okay, so there you go. Now, just for scale, I pulled this up really quick, if I could find it. Hang on a minute. Here we go. So, what do you say? 600 meters.
648 meters, 0.4 miles.
Yeah. So, the Empire State Building is 443 meters. So, pretty stinking deep. Let's see. Jessica Lambert called Cody a racist.
That's a fact.
And then Jen says, just think way back when they was built, everything was tropical back then. It's a huge energy battery. Yeah, that's what he was saying. He was saying that they're using geothermal energy and sound in a combination to produce energy or whatever. My question was, how are they getting the energy out? Like, you're creating these vibrations. You're creating structures that can grab these vibrations, the motion. But how are you actually transporting that energy to objects? That would be my question. Which...
Be the same way cell phone towers do.
Yeah, and there was some theory Tesla
Tesla was working on that theory, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a guy on TikTok a long time ago. He got taken down. He was like an autistic kid. His name was Dr. Parkenstein. You ever heard of him? Okay, he built this Tesla generator, and whenever he turned it on, he explained how you do it, and you wrap a certain amount of coils around a piece of cardboard or tube or something, and like you match the frequency of his machine with the certain amount of coils, and you do it the way that he said it, and you could, you know, receive if you plug that into the ground, you could like light up a light bulb when he had his generator on anywhere in the world.
Interesting.
So I think I think Tesla was working on that. He was all about wireless energy and getting it out for free, and that's when Edison came in and, oh, we have to be able to capitalize on this industry.
Well, speaking of Tesla, I did pull this up about his limitless energy in the pyramids of Egypt. So we could go into that in more detail if you like. For now, Jen says
They took the transmitter off the top, so
could be, yeah. They
you
took
used to have a gold cap or some shit, from what they say.
Maybe that's what it was. I mean, I don't know. I just found it very fascinating. So, Jen says,
Fulcrum's.
and
Oh,
Moses
go ahead.
was on mountain grinding gold into powder. I think it was still working then. Water moves on crystal granite. Yes, it's where Tesla got his info. He's on X still. Fulcrum 47 says he's on X still.
Dr. Parkenstein?
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
That's what's up.
big time until it's used for the wrong reasons. Okay. So, do we want to look at this? Well, I guess we're going to because that's all I got pulled up on the subject. So, we got Nikola Tesla's theory of limitless energy and the pyramids of Egypt. This was actually put out 5 years earlier. So, let's see if this lines up with what they found. I also wanted to point out that what I found interesting was I guess this structure goes all the way down to the bedrock, and the cubes below the pillars were like, what was it, 2 kilometers deep?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy to me. But anyway,
What's a kilometer?
I think it's just short of a mile, but I don't know the exact
Jesus.
number. Yeah, this was a huge undertaking. Of course, I mean, I kind of wonder if maybe part of it was like buried by the flood or something. Like stuff got washed over, during that time. So they may not have went quite that deep, but who knows? So
That wouldn't explain the that lion dog thing.
the Sphinx.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. So, let's see what this says.
Here's why Audible
Hey, look,
is
an
a great
ad.
side hustle. Because thanks to this free app available on the App Store, you can now
Nobody cares.
The Egyptian pyramids are without a doubt the most mysterious structures on planet Earth. We do not know when they were built, how they were built, who built them, and most importantly, why they were built. The Great Pyramid weighs nearly 6 million tons and consists of 2.3 million stones that are cut and
I just want to pause. I can't remember if it was said in the video we just watched on Twitter or if Wrestling KD said it, but I wanted to point out that one of the things that I found interesting is it's possible that the current model about how the smaller pyramids were the Egyptians learning how to build the pyramids, and then the big ones were like the peak of their generation or whatever, or their peak of the technology. Might have been the exact opposite. Like those pyramids might have came first, and the people of Egypt built their pyramids around those pyramids, and the smaller ones are actually mimicry of the bigger ones. I found that
Makes sense.
I found that really interesting.
But then you have to wonder if like the millennial reign already happened or some shit like that. It's like who because you're giving a lot of power to a basically infinite source.
Well, that's why I think the pre-flood world has a lot of credibility, because I think
Like Babylon? You think it's Babylon?
no, I think it was like a dynasty or something we haven't even heard of before that built all that. Like I think basically, I had a Sunday school teacher actually say this to me years and years ago. He said, we think that those people were still cavemen essentially. They probably weren't though. Now he thought they were probably as far along as the 1800s. They might have been much further. Like they might have been like flying cars and like just before you go to interplanetary travel. Like they might have been really stinking far along. And, maybe because the angels were interacting with men at that point or something. Who knows why? But the technology might have just been way, way more advanced than what we even are now. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of twists the story of Noah's Ark, flips it on its head. You know, instead of Noah's Ark being this colossal feat of construction, people might have been thinking, you're going to survive a global flood on that. And then ironically, the Noah's flood, the Ark actually survives and everything else gets wiped out. So it was just food for thought. But yeah, they may have been way more advanced than what we give credit for. And I think there's a lot of credibility to that idea. But
Yeah,
anyway.
maybe.
Fit together with laser precision. Many of these massive stones, which weigh as much as 80 tons, had to be transported from vast distances of more than 500 miles away. For thousands of years, it stood as the tallest unnatural structure in the world. Certainly, there must have been a good reason to go to all this trouble to construct such a wondrous monument, and we now know that it certainly was not a tomb. Nikola Tesla, who is perhaps the greatest inventor of all time, had a particular infatuation with the pyramids. He believed they served a higher purpose, and throughout his career he attempted.
We are going to get so nailed for the music on that, just so you know. So if we ever actually do get monetized, this episode's probably going to go. But anyway.
Oh.
To unravel their mystery. His idea has been dismissed and forgotten over the last century, but considering that Tesla is directly responsible for 80% of the technology we use today, perhaps we should view his theories with a more open mind. Today's episode is a brilliant showcase from the original Gaia series, Ancient Civilizations. We chose this episode because it opens the gate to new possibilities and new perspectives surrounding the pyramids. We ask you to suspend your disbelief and take a journey down the rabbit hole through this insightful presentation.
Oh, we are going to get so killed on copyright.
Yeah, that one.
We're
that
going to
one's
get
gonna
so
hurt.
nailed.
Yep.
Can we listen to it on like
Did
time
you know
and a quarter?
that bedbugs
It'll
can survive for months
listen?
without
change the
feeding
sound of the music.
and are resistant?
Yeah, it'll change it.
Like, listen to it faster in the hopes that we can dodge the algorithm.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
not? Why not? Let's see if I can get that figured out real quick. We got nothing to
Some
lose
settings.
here because we are going to get murdered so hard on that. Where's this playback speed? There we go. You want to do 1.25 or 1.5?
Whatever's clever. What do you think?
I can do 1.5 pretty easy. I don't know about everybody else.
Well, so can I,
1.5.
but most people can't.
That's true. All right, we'll do 1.25 then.
Oh,
This documentary
this whole
just
video is
dropped.
completely discredited.
You gotta discredit it.
Damn it.
Maybe it is
Oh,
a good thing we'll get hit.
no.
I was invested for a second. Now I'm not.
I know. Now I'm all cynical. Dad. Oh, let's see. Let me. Somebody read the comments while I scroll through this thing. See if they say anything about the energy source.
How far? Jessica Lambert said Tesla was so ahead of his time. I agree. Then Jen said, "This is when shit will hit the fan. No money to make for free energy."
Once you file that patent, man, you're competing with the powers that be.
Yep.
Just ask Stanley Meyer. Oh wait, you can't. He's dead.
Yeah. They are all over the world. Just think some of them was torn down and temples was built on them. Elohim, maybe. And then Jessica says, so much information was lost in Alexandria and other libraries that we don't even know about. And Jen said, I think we gonna find out the truth sooner than people think. And Jess said, fight the power, lol, 1.25. And then Jen said, hormonal to the earth. Wait, who's hormonal?
I don't think
Women.
that's what she. Well,
I'm just kidding, women. Sort of.
anyway, so Alex Jones has an interesting theory, one I tend to kind of agree with. I think
Alex
our
Jones-Ria? Alex
Jones
Jones-Ria.
Alex Jones
He
Ria.
talks kind of funny too.
Yeah, he does. There's a lot of funny people talking. That's the other theme in this episode is people talk funny.
Thank you.
No, he says that our benevolent overlords, the British bankers, they probably already know about all this, but they've been suppressing information because, yeah, like free energy just nukes our whole economic model. If you can transport energy without any sort of like grid, you're kind of done.
Yeah.
So there's also a wonderful episode of Bob's Burgers I love, by the way, where it talks about how they didn't like Tesla because of this free energy concept, and so they were trying to show how dangerous Tesla's type of electricity was. So, you know, they fried an elephant, and they have this song Electric Love on there because the elephant's name was Topsy, and they're like, oh, they'll say autopsy at my autopsy. It's a great episode. So I love that
I
episode.
want a Bob's Burger.
Yeah, it's Bob's Burgers, yep. So the next video I have here kind of relates to the energy to power the world thing. So I don't know if this is like getting into like music of the spheres, or that there's some kind of correlation with like musical notes and how this energy is created, like something about the vibrations. So
Okay.
I thought this is interesting. Again, I'm a little baffled as to how they got the energy out. Like I can see conceptually, I can see what they're doing. You know, you connect it to the bedrock, and then the vibrations from the bedrock are transferred up to the pyramid through the structures. Like, I get that, but how do you get it to go to other objects? So I'm still kind of stuck on that. So anyway, we'll see if this answers.
You turn it into a flying saucer, of course.
Well, obviously. Why didn't I think of that? So
Well, the ground is the ground. Like, so like, you know, you can plug something in and then take it out and plug it in the other way, and it still works.
yeah.
That would explain.
I guess
The ground, it can act as a conduit.
I think that's probably what they're playing on. Yeah, it's maybe the ground. I
Plus,
don't know.
there's
I'm
other
dumb.
pyramids everywhere.
I'm just dumb. I don't understand how
So-
energy is transferred. So
Electricity is one of the most fascinating topics in the whole world.
yeah, I agree. It is very interesting, but I also thought this music of the spheres thing was interesting because I mean, just the idea that different notes can produce different types of energy, and yeah, it's just all incredible to me. So I thought we'd watch this for a minute and see what we come up with here.
F-sharp chord. 440 hertz and the F-sharp chord have been connected to a lot of...
It's another ad.
Oh, good.
Oh, I like this one.
You don't play this
further
game, do you,
excite the
Trevor?
stone, creating
No.
even more electricity.
Oh, so let me get this straight. You stick the shafts into the queen's chamber, which gets the...
I didn't watch
Whoa.
this video beforehand.
The shafts in the queen's
despise-
chamber, eh?
The fish. I despise that fish.
Why is it
Well, he's a heckler.
Oh, it's a heckle fish. Oh, so it's a gimmick. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that is...
What-
Please don't. Did you have to give the fish teeth? That just seems unnecessary, but okay.
stones
This guy's a
excited.
cop. He's got
That's
cop
right,
mugs
but
back
somehow
there.
when you...
Huh?
His coffee mugs in the background. He's a cop. You can't trust him.
Oh. Well, you're being awfully picky tonight, so maybe this
Hey,
is
you
his
pointed
part-time
out the
job.
fish first.
I did complain about the fish, but the fish with teeth is unnerving, man. Come on, that just freaks me
Being
out.
awful picky.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Touche, Cody. All right.
say it sounds dirty.
I'm a naughty, naughty fish.
Acoustic engineers have determined the gallery resonates at 440 hertz and naturally emits an F-sharp chord. 440 hertz and the F-sharp chord have been connected to a lot of woo-woo ideas, but there's a reason for that. It's considered a sound that resonates in harmony with the earth. The builders of the pyramid knew this. Longtime Mac users will recognize this sacred chord. At the top of the gallery is a small shaft leading to the king's chamber. The opening is 8.4 by 4.8 inches. This is the perfect size for hydrogen microwaves to pass into the king's chamber, which also resonates at 440 hertz and F-sharp. Above the king's chamber are 5 layers of granite beams, stacked and separated by air gaps. This is called the relieving chamber because it was believed that this interior structure relieved the weight of the pyramid. That's not what it does. The beams are smooth on 3 sides, but rough cut on the top. Christopher Dunn believes the reason for the rough cut is this is how the beams were tuned. The builders could vibrate the granite beams and slowly chip away at the stone until they resonated with an F-sharp chord, which they do. The king's chamber is what's known as a Helmholtz resonator. When you blow air across the top of a bottle and create sound, that's a Helmholtz resonator. Change the volume of liquid in the bottle, or change the volume of stone within the chamber, you change the pitch. The entire complex is a giant musical instrument. Now, some skeptics reluctantly agree that the Great Pyramid has musical properties. But for skeptics to consider the pyramid as a power plant, they would need evidence to show that a giant stone pyramid would respond to electromagnetic energy. There was no evidence of that until 2018. Whether true or not, it's scientifically possible that the Great Pyramid was a structure for creating, harnessing, and focusing energy. The exterior was made of material that insulates electricity. The interior was made of material that conducts electricity. The chambers were made of material that creates electricity. The next piece of evidence is the pyramid's ability to focus EM energy. In 2018, scientists used radio waves at different frequencies to see if the Great Pyramid would interact with electromagnetic waves of a resonant length. Their experiments proved that in a resonant state, the pyramid can concentrate electromagnetic energy in the internal chambers as well as under its base. Resonance in the pyramid can be induced by radio waves with the lengths ranging from 200 to 600 meters. The closer to 200 meters, the more dramatic the effect. A year after that, in 2019, Eric Wilson published a paper called A Large-Scale Thermal Acoustic Generator. The paper describes how, when granite and other rocks are vibrated, electrons will migrate through the rock and up to the surface. By combining science and music, the builders of the pyramid created a power-generating machine tuned to the natural harmonic of the Earth's vibration that primarily comes from the tidal energy created by the moon's gravity. This technology, created thousands of years ago, could generate unlimited clean energy. But how did they get the energy out? That brings us back to Tesla. His Wardenclyffe Tower was built on top of an aquifer, with copper and iron rods extending down into the water. When electricity was sent into the tower, it was to be transmitted around the world through the atmosphere. The pyramid is also built on an aquifer, and copper pipes and iron rods have recently been discovered there. If the capstone was made of gold, the energy concentrated inside the pyramid would have been drawn to the top and transmitted to the atmosphere. Tesla's wireless power distribution system used the resonance of the Earth, just like the pyramid. And just like the pyramid, the energy generated by Tesla's tower would be unlimited, clean, and virtually free for everyone on the planet. But Tesla's tower was destroyed by outside forces. There's evidence that the Great Pyramid was destroyed from within. In the year 1900, Nikola Tesla convinced J.P. Morgan.
Okay, well, I think that answers the core question I had about how they get it out. That actually makes sense. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Somebody read the comments while I process this. That's pretty nuts.
Man, what if... Go ahead, Trevor.
Fulcrum 47 said free energy would be nice. Jen said well water, crystals, granite, copper does things energy-wise. Jess says there was a thing with a crystal radio. What makes a crystal radio work?
Crystals.
Jen said it's in watches to go figure. Fulcrum says, so this whole time we just had to turn on a laptop in the pyramid to turn it on.
Well, there you go.
Jen said, then I believe the Ark of the Covenant was the conductor somehow. This is why I think Moses was grinding gold into a powder. One pole was positive and the other pole was a negative. And then Fulcrum says, I wonder what would happen if you set a nuke off in there.
Nothing good.
Nothing, because nukes are fake.
Fake nukes. Just like the fake news.
Yes.
And then Jen said, it's going to fall together soon. And then Jess said, Jen, you got the copper part right.
Well, there you go.
Okay, so what if this all used to be a thing? What if we actually used free energy in the 1800s?
As late as the 1800s?
Yeah.
Well, where? Like, how would that work?
Well, I mean, you can find pictures of old buildings. They've all got like churches. What do you think steeples are for?
Okay, so you're thinking the steeples used free energy?
Yeah, they're like antennas. But so, like in the late 1800s, if you look it up, have you ever heard of ball lightning?
Mm-hmm.
So it was like very, very common. Like ball lightning would just like float into people's houses and kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the time. But what if that was an effect of free energy?
That's interesting. I hadn't heard that.
And so that's kind of why they snuffed it out. It makes sense to me. I don't know. I'm just thinking of it now.
Well, you could be right because this is all new to me, and it's very irritating because it's like, man, when I think I've got I understand the bulk of what's out there, then something like this happens, and it's like, oh gosh, that's a whole other rabbit hole.
Bro, look into Dr. Parkenstein. He'll They'll screw you up.
Yeah, it's all pretty disillusioning, but
Dude, sharp as a tack.
well, it's just discouraging to think that we could have had free energy, and then for some reason the grid guys won. CIA maybe. Since we're talking about them already.
Jin said it got lost with Moses when he took the ark from the pharaohs. And then Jess said it would have been way before the 1800s.
Yeah, but like it kind of snuffed out at the end of the 1800s, and that's also when ball lightning was, at its decline. And I mean, if you think about it, the population of America, what it is now, compared to the late 1800s, the demand for the amount of electricity to be put into the atmosphere, would have significantly gone up. This whole place would be a tinderbox, man.
You think so? You think if we tried this technology now, we'd fry the planet?
I gotta, yeah. I mean, I don't, yeah.
I don't know.
It makes sense.
It does make sense.
Fulcrum's, nuking all the stuff. It'd be nuking ourselves with electricity.
I do want to say one thing, though. We'll break up one minor point before we wrap this subject up. I don't think it's aliens. I do think it's pre-flood. What I think is going on is this is some kind of pre-flood technology, and I think there's a lot of that stuff that can still be found that's been dug up. I think as Alex Jones says, our benevolent overlords have kind of covered up this tech, and that's what I think the actual flying saucers are and all these different things. I think this is it's a different way of understanding energy. It's a different way of understanding physics. And we've been taught this kind of limited way to view stuff to kind of keep us poor and stupid and, behind the curveball.
Yep.
And so I don't like the aliens approach because I kind of feel like it violates Occam's razor. You're assuming a new variable just to explain these anomalies. And I'm like, well, even evolutionists believe in 4 extinction eras or 4 extinction events. So everybody agrees that there was a catastrophe. So maybe we should figure out the world, how the world was before the catastrophe, before we start assuming aliens. That would be my point. So, all right. So anybody have any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
Nope. It's all pretty weird, though.
It's pretty weird. Of course, there's also the possibility that this is like that cloning hoax that happened 20 years ago where they're like, we're going to present the evidence, guys. And then they never present the evidence. And that's always a possibility, too. I kind of doubt it, but, we'll see.
We will see.
So, Trevor, do you want to read the last of the comments, then we'll move on?
Aliens.
That was the last comment? Okay.
Let's see, how far back do I go? The pharaohs could have went rogue, and he took it. Just said, I know a woman who was struck by ball lightning in 2013.
Really?
We might have to hear that story.
It's very uncommon nowadays,
Yeah.
comparatively.
And then Fulcrum said, a big zap and everything is dead. And then Jen said, we all would have life sabers. Whatever those swords are called, aliens, Elohim, and Khazaranians, Palajarans. I've not heard of that one.
I don't know what that means.
And then just said, aliens just dismisses human ingenuity and then impact of lost knowledge.
Khazarians? Oh, yeah.
I agree. We do not give our predecessors enough credit. We always think that we're evolving and getting better, but I think compared to our ancestors, we're stupid. So,
well, the aliens thing is just another distraction to keep us. Oh, what are aliens?
Yeah. Fear campaign.
Yeah. Give us a mysterious other that we can fight whenever they want to set up their global government.
You will eat the bugs and you will be happy.
You will eat the bugs. That's another Bond villain, but it's all just stupidity, guys. It's not malice at all. We're ran by Bond villains, but they're just dumb. So
aliens just said aliens just dismiss human. Oh, and then she just said it's similar to calling people stupid. It just dismisses everything.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Aliens are fake and gay.
All right.
Or gay and fake.
That too.
Well, we've got one more cover tonight because I think that's a good transition. Some of us believe that aliens are actually demons. And Trevor has found a video about demons that I know nothing about. So I'm very interested
fun.
to see. Yes. It's a
Wait, what's it called?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Panspermia. That's a good one. The aliens seeded life on Earth somehow. Or an asteroid. Panspermia.
Break that word down. Break that word down. Pan? Who's Pan?
Greek god of hedonism, basically.
Okay. Sperm?
Yeah, we know what sperm is. What's Ea, Cody?
I don't know. E-I-E-I-O. Old MacDonald had a farm. It was called the world.
Okay.
That farmer's name was Pan.
Yeah.
Gia.
He
So,
put sperm everywhere. Sorry.
anyway.
Oh.
Well, on that wonderful note. F sharp, by the way. So,
F sharp.
Do you want
okay.
to end this episode and then we'll move on?
Yep, we're going to end this episode, move on, and we're going to talk about Demon Ammon or something. So, all right, we're not leaving. This is just the end of episode 3. So, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Faith, Fiction, and Folklore. If you did, we would love it if you would subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Rumble. We can also be found on X, Instagram, and Facebook. And we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Thank you again very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.